I'm coming at you live on tape from Sydney, Ohio. And this week's episode, we're talking about the love triangle that happened between Triple H, Chyna, and Stephanie McMahon. Behind the scenes. This did not play out on camera, though there was a relationship between Triple H and Stephanie that played out on camera. That was the beginnings of their relationship behind the scenes. But we're not getting into that. Now, Triple H and Chyna trained together at Killer Kowalski's wrestling school. That's how they knew each other. And Triple H and Shawn Michaels helped get Chyna a job at WWE. By this time, Triple H and Chyna were dating, but they kept their relationship a secret because Chyna didn't want the world to think that she just got the job because she was dating Triple H, who was a rising star. Now, pretty soon, Triple H, Chyna, Shawn Michaels, and Rick Rude formed D-Generation X and became a big thing. Though Chyna was Triple H's bodyguard before that. Now, when Stephanie first seen Triple H was when Triple H, Chyna, Shawn Michaels, and Rick Rude were doing DX, and Stephanie was in college at the time and thought that Triple H and Shawn Michaels were actually an item together because they thought their DX antics were a real-life relationship. When she got back from college is when she learned different. But it's up for debate whether she knew Triple H and Chyna were a thing. Now, by the time we get to Triple H, the wedding, Stephanie and Test's wedding, where Triple H reportedly drugged and married Stephanie and then had intercourse with her, which was the beginning of Triple H and Stephanie's relationship on screen. Chyna and Triple H were living together, and if Chyna is to be believed, they were going to get married. They were living together and had been for several years. They had a house in New Hampshire, and her and Triple H were going to get married. Now, Triple H says that their relationship was rocky at that point. But Chyna says they're going to get married, though Triple H had not bought her a ring yet. Now, at Armageddon, it was revealed that Stephanie was behind this plan all along to take over WWE on screen, and her and Triple H from that point on were always groping, kissing, and doing lots of other stuff on screen together. Now, Vince McMahon, to facilitate this relationship, because Triple H revealed to Stephanie that he had a crush on her, and they secretly started dating at this point sometime in mid-2000, sometime in early 2000, to keep Chyna away from knowing they're dating, because Vince McMahon knew about it. They hooked Chyna up with Eddie Guerrero, so Chyna would travel with Guerrero, and Triple H would travel with Stephanie. Now, this was all a big conspiracy, but Triple H, when he came home to Chyna, because they weren't home a lot together, Triple H, according to Chyna, would start fights with Chyna for no reason. So Chyna thought something was up. This is late 2000s, early 2001. So Triple H one day left his Samsonite briefcase that Chyna got him one day at home instead of taking it with him. So Chyna picked the lock and found a love letter Stephanie wrote to Triple H, and then confronted Triple H, and Triple H admitted the whole thing, that him and Stephanie were together, and that he wanted to no longer be with Chyna. Now, according to Triple H, though, when he got together with Stephanie, him and Chyna were on a break. Though for some reason he was still living with Chyna. So Triple H did not cheat on Chyna. Him and Chyna were on a break. And he got together with Stephanie. And then him and Chyna kind of got back together, but kind of didn't. But he was with Stephanie now. So it's up to who you believe at this point. I personally believe Chyna because Triple H has been known to lie and cheat and steal. He is the real life Eddie Guerrero. Now, Chyna was pissed. And she went to the next show to confront Stephanie. And Vince McMahon ushered her into his office where Stephanie was. And according to Chyna, this is how it went down. Stephanie told Chyna Triple H is her man now, and she can't do anything about it, at which point Chyna responded that she would rip Stephanie's face off if not for Vince McMahon being in the same room. And Vince calmly told Chyna to just go home and relax, take some time off. But it was near the end of her contract, and Vince just never renewed her contract. Whether she was actually released or she just didn't get her contract renewed is up in the air and depends on who you ask. But she was essentially let go because her boyfriend cheated with the boss's daughter. Now, at the time, she was women's champion. They never had her lose the women's championship, and it sat vacant for about 6 months till Trish Stratus got it. Triple H and Stephanie then went on to get married and run the WWE till Stephanie eventually left and Vince came back, and now Vince is gone. Triple H is running the WWE by himself. Though it's owned by Triple H is kind of in charge of creative in the WWE, and he's kind of doing his thing in the WWE while Stephanie's doing her thing. And so Triple H is mad with power now. Chyna went on a downward spiral. She started doing drugs. She started drinking. She hooked up with Triple H's friend, Sean Waltman, also known as X-Pac or Six. And there was a lot of drugs and drinking between them. And Triple H warned Sean Waltman, do not hook up with this woman. You have to break it up. She's bad for you. And because of all the drugs and drinking that he was doing, that was one of the reasons he got released from WWE. So they did make a sex tape together. Vince McMahon also, according to Chyna, blacklisted Chyna from the Hollywood industry, because according to Chyna, she was supposed to be the villain in Terminator 3, but Vince blacklisted her and said, if you want to work with our wrestlers, you can't work with Chyna. So Chyna would later do a little bit of acting. She'd later go on and do porn, including a movie that was kind of a parody of the WWE. And she tried to come back before her death to do a WWE show, to say goodbye to fans, get in the Hall of Fame, but she died of a drug overdose. And then later was inducted in the Hall of Fame with DX. A lot of us think she deserves her own induction because she was the first woman to hold a male championship, holding the Intercontinental Championship twice. She was the first woman in the King of the Ring. She was the first woman in the Royal Rumble. She was the first woman to have a WWE title shot. She had a lot of firsts. Now, according to Chyna, Triple H also pushed her, but that has been kind of disproven. So that is kind of the story between this whole love triangle between them. Stephanie won out because her daddy backed her. If Chyna had her way, she would have beat the crap out of Stephanie. So join me next time where we'll talk about, I can't see the timer here, something else. Always a hard role to fill talking about wrestling things. So if you have any ideas, let me know.